Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this Butterfly Gala floating picture frame. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. Okay, the first thing I did was take an inexpensive wooden picture frame that I picked up at my local discount store, and I put a couple of coats of white acrylic paint on it. And then I took my Balmy Blue Classic ink and a Stampin' Sponge and pop some color on it using my Stampin' Sponge. Now you can add as much color as you'd like to this. I found scattering the darker shades amongst the lighter shades was a look that I liked, and I just quickly went around the frame popping color like this with the Stampin' Sponge. There you go. It's that quick and easy adding that little color. And now I'm ready to move on to the butterflies. Okay, I've got my Whisper White cardstock and I'm inking up my butterflies with the tuxedo. And I am going to stamp that on to my Whisper White cardstock. And of course we want to use the memento because these are blends and we need to use the memento so that the black won't bleed. I'm quickly taking my Night of Navy and I'm coloring in the outer edge of these wings and then adding a pop of color to the center. And as you can see, I'm not worried about it being perfect because I want it to have more of an organic feel to it. And then I'm taking my dark Pool Party and I'm adding a splash of color that touches that Night of Navy. And then the last color I'm using on my large butterfly is the light Balmy Blue, and I am simply taking that and running it where I had not colored before. You can go over the other colors if you want to blend them a little bit, but there you go. And for my little butterfly, I chose to use a different set of colors. So I am using the dark Bermuda Bay, and I'm putting just a little hint of that on the outside of the wings and on the inside just a little dot. And then I'm coming back with my light Bermuda Bay and I'm adding another line of color, and this one I want to do the center a little bit. And then my final shade is the light Pool Party, and I am going to blend everything together. And that gives my butterflies a little different feel, but I'm still in the blue family that I wanted. I'm going to take my punch and punch those out. And isn't it wonderful the way this lines up? And then I find I like to add the body to it after the fact. So this allows me to line up my body where I want it on that punched area. You can do this before you punch, but I find this works a little easier for me. There we go. And I'm ready to add Stampin' Dimensionals onto the back of this. And I want to add quite a few of these because I want for this to be nice and firm against my frame. So I'm actually adding one to both portions of the wing on the big butterfly. And then I'm using my little mini dimensionals for the baby butterfly here and putting 2 on the back. Now I've got 2 of these done, and I want to repeat about 12 times each depending on how full you want your frame to look. So let's get started on the next step. Okay, at this point I've got all my butterflies done. I've added dimensionals to the back of them like I showed you, and I've placed them around my frame the way I want them. And I am ready to start adhering. So I'm simply going to remove the dimensional coverings and place the butterfly back on the frame where I wanted. And I'm going to do that as I work around the frame. I found it's easy to do the big butterflies first and then go back and start at 12 o'clock again and do the little butterflies. Okay, part of the technique here is to have your butterflies kind of hang over the edge, and that kind of gives it a look of a floating frame. So make sure as you're adhering these, you do some off of the frame and some on the frame. It'll give you that unique look. Okay, I've got those done, and I do want to leave a little bit of white space behind the butterflies because I like the look of that. At this point, you're going to take your paper snips And you are going to start trimming the edges off that hang over the frame. Oops. Going to turn that scissors over so that little bolt here is farther out, and I kind of actually cut at a slight angle. It helps me get a tighter cut to the frame. And I'm simply going to quickly go around the edge using the edge of the wooden frame as a guide for the scissors to lean on, and trim each and every wing that hangs over. First on the outside, and then you can do that same method on the inside of your frame. And the inside can be a little trickier, so if that bothers you, you can use the butterfly and trim it before you put it on, and that can make it a little easier for you. Let's see, this one's got a little bit of a dimensional to it, so I want to trim that a little closer. There we go. And let me show you the original. Here we go. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.